Hello everybody, Steven here with Cardboard Coalition, and today I figured I would bring a how to play, or at least a very high overview, so the very basics of how you play dark rituals. And I'm not going to try to read the Maleficarus. There, I tried to read it for you. So Dark Rituals by Dark Pig Games. This is a 2 to 5 player game. It's a 1 versus many game. So what goes on is one player plays as the witches, and we got 2 of them out here. We've got Hagatha and who is our other one? Because I didn't really look. And Ikrik. Ikrik. Yeah, and Ikrik. All right. So we got Agatha and Ikrik, and then we got the 4 heroes that come in the base game. So we have Batista, we have Corday, we have Kurthouse, and then we have Wolfgar. And of course we have some minions on the board and stuff like that. And we have, you guys can't see over here, we have some villagers on the board, we have the militia, and we have the farmers. This game definitely takes up some space, and some of it too is me not being able to get the camera where I need to get it and all that kind of stuff. But we're going to try to give you guys a run through on how you play a game, just a basic run through. So the game's set up for all 5 players. It spreads out a bit. You have some of the witch stuff still over there. You got some of the cards and stuff that you can pick up over here. But we can use this hero, and we can use Hagatha to kind of give us an overview of how we're going to play. And this specific one, you guys can't see him, so I'll just bring him into the camera really quick. We have the big demon, all right? It's Hibernian. I'd have to look at his name. Hyborium. So Hyborium is actually in this game. And we'll talk about how the demons work too. So this is the 3rd scenario in the book. I don't remember how many scenarios there are. And there's more scenarios if you get expansions and stuff. But this will allow us to go over how to play the heroes, how to play the witch, and how to play the demon. So this is going to be a very high up overview. So let's go ahead and look at this card, and I might stumble a little bit because though the lighting looks good for you guys, it's not so good for me. So basically, let's go over some of the actions. So how this works is a hero goes, then the witch goes, then the witch master. So I'll explain that in a minute. But the hero goes, then the witch master goes, hero goes, witch master goes. And it really doesn't matter. Batista can go, and then the witch master might use Hagatha, and then Batista can go again, and the witch master might decide to use one of her minions down here, like the Condemned or Mortis or Ravenous. I like the Ravenous a lot. But anyways, so hero goes, witch master goes, hero goes, witch master goes. And you keep going until the stamina right here runs out. So it's probably hard for you guys to see, so I guess we'll just kind of take Corday. We'll take her since she's kind of out of the picture a little bit, and we'll use her. So on the hero card, it tells you the cost per action. That's move, that's search, that's revive. You do that to yourself. That is to drop an item, pick up an item, and to aid somebody. And we'll go over how you do that. Over here, what you have is your starting values, which are also down here. Well, I guess we can, let's see which one you guys can see. You guys see Kurthouse. So these are the starting values, and you kind of set them here. As you kill or defeat any of the monsters on the board, the minions, the monsters, or the witches, you get a bump up your stats. So with this example that we have right here, with Kurthouse, he has 1 movement, 2 attack, 1 defense, and this is 1 alchemy. Movement, attack, and defense, you can bump up any of those when you kill an enemy. Alchemy, you only get a bump up when you actually do a spell. And we'll get into that as we go through all the things that you can do on your character turn. Now these little gems represent the stamina you have, and it's based on this right here. If you guys can see, he has 2, and I can't remember what the name for each one is, but there's like a body, I think there's body, mind, and I don't know, alchemy, magic. So he has 2 plus 2 plus 5, so he has 9. He has 9. And anytime he decides to do something, his movement's 1, he would take 1 stamina, and he'd put it over here. And that just represents that you're using one stamina. And then he could move one. He just happens to move one. Down here with Woolgar, he takes two stamina. Sorry, I bumped the camera. And he can move two to start with. But as I said, you can bump these up, all right, as you defeat enemy. So how you actually do any of your stuff is by spending this stamina. It's the same with the witch, but we'll go over that here in a minute. So let's go ahead and jump in and look at this, and I'll explain everything as we go. This is a hero summary. These cards are actually pretty nice. It gives you some symbols and stuff on the back, how to figure out attack value and defensive value, and we'll explain all that, and evading. So what we got here in the hero summary, these are the actions that you can do. You can take up to 2 actions during your turn, and they can be 2 of the same actions. So the first one on here is revive. Revive means that you've been knocked down by the witch. So if you see on here, they have a 4/4, Cadre has 2, and Batista has 5. I'm going to move Cadre's stuff over so we can kind of look at her card to kind of help us out. All right, so she has a 3 health, right? So if you get knocked down, all your stamina goes over here and you're out, right? You need to be revived. You have to wait for your next turn. And during that turn, you have to spend 5 of your stamina to get yourself back up. Then from there, with whatever leftover stamina, you can use to do other things. So that's what revive is. And we'll leave hers kind of empty so I can keep picking it up. So we'll go just down the list. Next is attack. And what attack is when you want to attack any of the minions, there's no monsters on the board yet, or the demon, right? If you want to attack any of the witch, the minions, the monsters, the demon, you can attack. That can be one of your actions. And remember, you can take up to 2, so you can attack twice. And how attacking works is just dice. Let me grab the right ones. You're kind of on camera, but a little bit off. So we have the blue are the better dice, and then yellow. And then on the dice, they have 2 hit, 1 hit, 0, not hit, 2, I don't know, 2, 1, 0, right? So what you do is if you want to attack, you roll the dice. You would probably never roll all these, but you would add up what you have here. So we have 1, 1, let's just say you rolled all of them. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you look down and you see what your hero's attack value is. If we go back over here to Corday, her starting attack value is 2. And that could bump up, right? So she can beat someone and be at 3 or 4, but for now, let's just go with 2. So your attack value in this roll would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus your 2 attack, whatever your attack currently is at. And this is just the starting stats, right? So 2 attack. So she would actually have 7 attack. Then the defender, and the attack goes the same for the minions and the witches and the demon. There's just some extra things for the witches. So the defender gets to roll some dice, and we're just going to roll all of them, right? We'll get some dice and we'll roll them out there. So it's the same principle with defending. So every attack can be defended. You have to be able to have stamina to both attack or defend. So with this one, you would pay the stamina. So on Corday's, let's go ahead and go with Corday's, and we'll look at hers to kind of show this. And where you get the dice that you use for your attack or your defense is on these cards. You can see them over here for Kurt House and Wolfgar, is you have these weapon cards, and there's actually things that you can pick up to add to them. But it tells you how much it costs to attack. So a melee attack, that's a range attack, is 2 stamina, you get 2 yellow dice. A range attack is 3 stamina, you get 1 blue, 2 yellow. It also gives you the weight. Each character can hold up to so much weight, and then it gives you what it costs for defense. So 2 stamina for 3 yellow. So we'll just roll those really quick. And so she would get 2 defense, and the same with the attack is you add what you get, so there's 2, plus what your defense is, and her starting is 1, so she'd have a 3 defense. Against that big roll, she would have lost, and what happens is she takes 1 wound. She doesn't take all that, she just takes 1 wound. If the attack is more than the defender takes 1 wound. If the defense is more than the attack, the defender just defends. If it's equal, the defender defends. Right? So you have that. That's how an attack works. And the attack works the same if a demon's attacking or anything like that. One thing that you can do, instead of doing an armor roll, let's say someone attacks. Let's do 2 yellows. I don't know if we have anybody that has 2 yellows, but let's just say we got a yellow and a blue. Let's hope we get a 2 out of this. And we got, of course, a 3. Let's say we rolled a 2, right? And this attack roll is against, let's see, we got to have someone that's 2. It's against Batista. His defense is already a 2, right? So he has 2 defense. He doesn't have to pay any stamina to block this, right? He's already got 2. I can't remember the name of it. Instead of doing an armor roll, there's a name for it. You just look at your armor and you say, I'm using that. My armor blocks that. So in that sense, someone got 2, for instance, attack, and they're going against Batista. He already had 2 defense to begin with. He doesn't have to pay any stamina to make a roll to stop that defense. All right. So there's attack. The other thing you could do is you can search. And we'll go back, and I believe they're all the same for some. It's the movement and attacks that are different. So you search, right? It's 1. You take 1 stamina, and you can search. And what that means is you can search these botanicals, right? With these tokens, you flip them over, and it tells you how many cards you get. Or you can search a chest, right? And that, when you search a chest, you end up getting a card from the loot deck, right? And then this card you add to your guy. This one's a little interesting. Like I said, we're just going to do a high overview of it. So you would read the cards to actually use them. Some of them are spells. Some of them are amulets and stuff that help your person perform better. Now, I know I kind of skipped it, so I'll jump back really quick. With the botanical, with this one, let's say, you search for that, and you get 3. You would take that off the board. Same with the chest. You would take them off the board if you searched it, right? And so you would 3. What that 3 means, sorry, I jumped ahead on that, is you would take 3 cards from the botanical stack. And these cards are ingredients to do your spells. Now, how you know your spells is right here. And I know this kind of seems like a lot, but once you play through it, not even once, you go through 1 turn, you kind of understand what's going on. So your spell, and it's really hard to see because of the lighting, there's numbers. So that's a 1, 1, 1, 2, I believe it's 2, 2, 3, 4. So your alchemy level needs to be at the level of the spell you're trying to cast. So let's go ahead and look at Corday. Her alchemy right now is 1, so she can only cast these first 3 spells. Right? And how she does that is she pays the stamina, if any, and all 3 of these are 0 stamina. Looks like all of her spells are 0 stamina. So all she does is she would have to get rid of 1 of these or 2 of these, whatever it calls for to do that spell. And let's see. Fortunately, I think the first 3 cards were nothing she could use. Well, there's 1. She would have to get a mushroom. Let's grab 1 more card just to see if there's a mushroom there. And there's not. All right, I should have set up the deck. So that is why you would search botanicals, right? So you can cast spells. And spells is one of your actions that you can do. And you just, instead of using stamina, unless it calls for stamina, you use the ingredients, right? All right, so that's attack, search, we did revive. Now, aid. So aid, what that means is if you have 2 heroes in the same, and I know it's hard to tell, but we have Wolfgar and Batista in the same area. And an area is outlined by these, there's light white lines. I don't know if you guys can tell. And then this is considered one area, this is another area, the edge of the board. So these are considered areas. Like all these monsters are in one area. So in aid, when 2 heroes are in an area and one hero says, I'm going to attack, I'm going to defend, whoever the other hero is. So Wolfgar here, let's say Batista says, I'm going to attack, what is her name? Ikrik. No, it's not Ikrik over here. This is Hagatha. So Batista says, I'm going to attack Hagatha. Wolfgar can say, I'm going to spend 1 stamina, and it shows it on here, right here, aid, and I'll bring hers up so you guys can see. Aid for her is 2, for Wolfgar it's 1, so whatever it costs, stamina aid. So you would pay that stamina, and that would give Batista, because he's going to attack, 1 more, I always call them hits, but it's point. So remember how we counted out the attack hits? It would give him 1 more. And if you had all 4 characters here, they can all aid the person attacking. They can all aid the person defending. So aid is you spend the stamina and you aid that person. You give them 1 towards their attack or 1 towards their defense. All right. So move, right? So it says move, and inside the card it says 1 area, but like everything, like we talked about, these guys have movement too. There's the movement. So she has 2. It cost her 1 stamina to move 2 spaces. And 2 spaces means, let's see if you guys can see her on the board. I'm going to take a second step to the other side. I got the camera set up on a stand here because you guys want to know all that extra stuff. So movement, we got Corday over here. She can move 2, right? Because, or no, yes, she can move 2 because her starting ability is 2, right? So she can move 2. So she can go 1, 2. She can go 1, 2. She can go 1, right? 1. She can move up to 2. So if she starts here, she can go 1, 2. If she wants to get close to try to attack those enemies. She pays her stamina, which is 1, and she does her movement, which right now her movement is 2. And like I said, movement, attack, and defense can all be bumped up by killing enemies, and the alchemy gets bumped up by casting spells. And the reason alchemy helps is with the spells, the higher up on the spells, the better they are, and you can get cards that say your spells, your alchemy level has to be at a certain level. So, now movement. When characters move, they can move to any area that shares a flat line. And let me see how this is set up. Well, let's go here. Let's say Agatha's here and she wanted to move here. She can't move like that because it's the corner that matches. She can move right here, then here, but she can't move like that. And the lines, they're not perfect squares and they're all over the place. But your movement is 1 area. So this is an area. This house is considered an area. Any houses or buildings are considered areas. Anything off the board. So that's 1 area. That's 2 areas. So she'd go 1, 2 if she wanted to move. So that's how you move. All right. So now I'm on the other side of you guys. Magic. So pickup. And that is shown to you guys. And I'm walking to the other side again. That's shown to you guys with this symbol. And so you see there's the up-down arrow. So that's pick up or put down. What that means is, let's say Corday has the Jaka wart. So she has the Jaka wart, but maybe Wolfguard can use it. She can decide to drop it where she's at, right? And that takes whatever the cost is. I think it's 1 for everybody, but there's 1. To trade for her is 2. I guess it does change depending on the player. So for 1, she can drop an item, or she could pick up an item. She can either drop or pick up an item. So someone else maybe dropped it for her, then she can come around and pick it up. We're almost done with the heroes. So the next thing is to trade an item. And that's just, you could just give another player an item too. It doesn't mean necessarily that you have to get something for it. So for 2, and see over here, Wolgar, I keep calling him Wolfgar. Wolgar is 1. But with Corday, with Corday, you spend 2 stamina and you can trade. So she can trade with anybody who's in her area. So these 2, so Batista and Wolgar can trade. Batista takes 2 to trade. Wolgar takes 1. They would pay the stamina cost, and then they can trade. They can either exchange items, or they can just give the other person the item. That's what trade is, right? And then the last thing on there is to use the serf. And like I showed you guys, there's a farmer serf and a militia serf. And how you use them is just like you use the characters. It shows you what you have to pay to do something. So 2 stamina, those lightning bolts mean stamina. 2 stamina to move, 2 stamina to fight, 1 stamina to defend. Their movement ability is 2. Their initial attack is 2, and their initial defense is 1. And then the villager cannot attack, but they can defend, they can move. There's their costs, 2 and 2, and there's their numbers, 3 for movement and 2 for defense. So that's the last thing you can do, is one of your 2 actions that you would choose to do with your hero. So just to run over them really quick to keep them fresh in your guys' mind, because I'm sure you're going to play the game based on what I'm telling you guys, is you can revive, you can attack, you can search, you can aid, you can move, you can pick up, you can trade, and you can use a surf, right? Those are the things that you can do with your actions. And you can do any of them twice. You can attack twice, move twice, search 2 things. And sometimes in games there's special things like you have to pick up tablets or scrolls. That is 1 stamina. And that will be specified in the setup for the game. It'll let you know that. So that is everything that the hero does. Now, the Witch Master, and I'm moving to the other side. Ooh, kicking the camera, kicking the camera. The Witch Master is similar, but different in some ways. So, the Witch Master has some actions that they can do. And it's the same thing. They can do 2 actions during their turn, as long as they have stamina. Now, you guys can't see it, but the Witch Master has a lot of stamina. So she has 32, or the Witch Master has 32 stamina to use. And this is where it gets a little bit confusing. These are your witches. These are your minions. The witches can pull up monsters. So here's some of the monsters that you can bring up. And then there is the demon, right? The Witch Master controls the witches, the minions, the monsters, right? And the demon, right? So the Witch Master controls all those, and we'll go through how they do all that. So first we're going to talk about the Witch Master controlling the witches, the minions, and the monsters, because that is the basic thing. They all work the same. So all those use stamina, right? And how you know what stamina they have to use is because it says it on their card. So Hagatha has 3 for attack, 3 for defense. She can move. It's 2 to move. She can move 2 spaces. Her attack's 2. Her defense is 1, right? And same thing, she would roll dice. These represent dice and what color dice she would roll, plus what their stat is. Now, their stats don't bump up. The witch's stats do not bump up. Same with the minions. You have their cost, and then you have their stat for their attack and their defense and their move and all that kind of stuff. Demon, which I got to move into view for you guys, is also the same. So you have stamina you pay to move, stamina you pay to attack and defend, and then you have some special things you can go down here, and they change with demons. The base game comes with 1 demon. So the expansions have more demons, but the base game comes with 1. You can get some expansions that are more witches too, which usually come with some minions, a witch and some minions. All right, so same thing. Let's go over this card and let's roll right through this. So 1, move. We've already talked about movement with the hero. Witches can move. The Witch Master has to choose. Are they going to activate one of their witches? They might have 3 witches in play. They might have 1. Are they going to activate one of their minions? Or if they've pulled up a monster and the monster's in play, are they going to activate the monster? So the Witch Master has to decide. Once they decide, they can move. So you can move any witch, any minion, any monster, right? Next is summon a minion. It gives you the cost on here. So this is the minion symbol. And to summon a minion, it takes 4, right? You take 4 stamina to summon a minion, right? Possess a serf. So the serfs can be possessed, and there's actually minis for it too, and they become this. They become a possessed serf. And there's some objectives where you want to either kill or possess serfs. Possessed serfs become a monster for you to control. All right, so then you can save a burning witch. So let's say, where's one of our witches? I know Hagatha's on the other side, so I'm going to have to grab this and then move over here. Through me magic. So let's say they beat Ikrek, right? So what you do with her is you take her off the board, same with any of the other minions, the demon or anything, and you put down this token, which means a burning witch. Now, the witch can revive. They can revive a burning witch. The witch master can decide to revive a burning witch, but only if there's a witch in play. If there's no witches in play, they can't summon minions, they can't summon monsters, they can't save witches that are burning, right? If there's no witch, active witch on the board, a non-burning witch. But if there is a burning witch, you can pay the stamina, which is right here. If you guys can see, it's a crossed out burning symbol, or crossed out fire. So 5 stamina, you can make a witch unburn, right? And so what that means though, is that 5 is permanently gone. So for the witch master, they have to have a witch on the board still, and they could decide to save one of their witches that is burning, but they have to give up 5 of their stamina and permanently give it up. It doesn't go to a pool. Permanently give up the stamina. And that would bring the witch back. So if that were to have happened, let's say Icaric was burning, the witch master's like, I'm so close to winning, I'm going to bring her back. He can pay, or she, the witch master, can pay 5 stamina to bring Icaric back into the game, right? And then the witch gets one more action. The witch master can do one more action. So the witch can move, it can attack, and things like that. All right. So what else do we got here? Save a burning witch. Let's do attack last. So you can cast a witchcraft spell. So when you start each round, and I'll explain how the round ends and then you start a new round. But when you start each round, the Witchmaster has 3 cards in their hand. And give me a second, let me go through the deck. That's what I was looking for. Come to Papa. Come to Papa. And I don't know why I'm trying to calmly put these cards back in the right order. Let's say the witch has these cards. So for an action, they can bring one of these cards out, right? And it tells you what to do. So this one is March, and it's going to be hard for me to read it because the lighting in here looks great for you, not so great for me. But March is minions advance, right? So you pay 4 stamina. Up to 6 minions may evade 1 area. We'll talk about evade here in a second. So you can pay the stamina and have that happen. You go and you put it away. That is the cast witchcraft spell. The other spell that you can cast is you can bring a monster onto the board. And what this says is you pay 5 stamina to bring a monster, this monster specifically, the Tree of Despair, to one of the spawning grounds. So you see these right here, these are spawning circles, right? And you have spawning circles, a handful of them all over. And I'll step back on that one a little bit. When a burning witch comes back, it goes to any of these spawning circles. The burning witch goes to a spawning circle, right? Any minions that you spawn in go to spawning circles, right? Any monsters that come in go to spawning circles. Let's see if I can get the burning tree, just because it is pretty cool. I'm glad I kind of grabbed that one. So, or the burning tree, the Tree of Despair, right? So let's say the Witchmaster pays for one of their actions. They decide to cast a spell, and they pay the 5 stamina to bring in the Tree of Despair. And we'll put it right there. Right? They discard that card. That's what that symbol means. They discard that card. Right? And now that tree is in play. So that is right here, they cast a witchcraft spell, right? And let me step back one more time. So when you summon minions, you can't summon more minions than the chapter tells you start with. So if you have no minions, you can't summon more minions. But if a minion's been killed, let's say a couple minions have been killed, you could decide to spend the stamina, the 4, to spawn a minion. And you could pick any of your minions that you can bring in. And you could spawn them at any of the zones, right? So that's the spawning the minions. You only have as much as the chapter allows. So these are all the minions that the Witchmaster has available. They can't add more, and only when they're killed can they summon them back in, or summon more in. So, the last action that the witch can perform is down here, and it's spread the plague. So, I gotta move kind of this board around to show you guys. Ooh, that kind of fell through. So you have this board here, and every time a witch kills a serf or a hero, it's the evil aura track, I think, bumps up, and we'll explain what that's for. So you start right there, you kill one hero, you go there, and you move up the track. But you also put a soul on the soul tracker. If you guys can see, this is just a little token, and the game set will tell you where to set the tokens. Once you hit 3, so once you get 3 souls, so you'd have to hit heroes down 3 times, then you get to do a plague card. So let's go ahead and set this down and get the plague card out. All right, so a plague card are these cards, right? And so the plague card tells you where the stamina comes from, right? It tells you how much stamina you have to pay, and all of them are usually reduced stamina. So this one is reduce a mind stamina by 1. That's the mind symbol. So what that means for these heroes is if the witch gets it, one of her actions is she can pay her stamina, her 3 stamina, to take stamina away from the heroes. And whatever you take away is either the amount on the card or the amount that the hero has in that area, whatever is smaller. So mine's up here, 1. And what this does is it locks the stamina. And the stamina gets locked for all heroes, right? When they spread the plague. And the heroes can take it from reserved stamina down here, or not reserved, they could take it from their spent stamina or their reserve stamina, but all heroes lose 1 from the mind. She has 4 for mind, so she can lose a whole bunch. He has 4, he has 2, he has 1, so he has no more from the mind that can be taken. So that's one of the actions. The witch master would spread the plague. He would take an action to spend 3 stamina to spread the plague. Now, one more thing while we're talking about the witch master. Well, a couple more things. But as I said, as you kill heroes, not just the soul track fills up, but the evil aura, I think is what it's called, fills up. Once it gets all the way here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you've killed 5 serfs or heroes. Once it gets here all the way to 5, what happens is all your witches, all your minions, all your monsters, where's our burning tree? Because now we have the burning tree in play. I gotta find that burning tree. I keep calling it the burning tree, the tree of despair. They all flip over to the red side, which is a more powerful side, right? And all your witches would flip over, right, to this more powerful side. Even the demon. So everything flips over to the more powerful side. If you kill enough heroes and serfs to get the aura track or the aura of evil track all the way over here. And they're just more powerful is what that is. Their attacks are stronger and things like that, and their magic is stronger. Now, just like the hero, the witch has spells that they can cast, but the witch casts their spells differently. They have this book, I forget what it's called, but it's their spells, and if you can tell, there's no numbers on it. This is just a rundown of what the spell is. It explains what the spell is. So what happens is we go over here, when the witch either attacks or defends, if they hit this number, and remember, it's their base stat plus whatever they roll. So if they hit this number, they get to do this extra spell, and it gives you that. So they get attack for whatever their attack value is, which can hit them for 1. Remember, what they have to do is they have to hit harder than the person can defend, the hero can defend. And then this tells you what spell it is. Right, so the first one on here is Fallen. And Felon on here, and I have to get it close to my eyes because it's dark in here. The target discards 2 botanical cards. So Fallon says that the hero discards 2 botanical cards. So that's how that works. All right, and I know the time's going. This is kind of a long one. So let's go ahead and go to the last thing, which is the demon and how the demon works. So if the demon's already on the board, like this go, we already have Hyborium on the board. I'm going to flip it this way so when I talk about what he can do, or I'll just bring the card with me. Hyborium is already on the board. Hyborium is already on the board. And what happens is at the beginning of each turn, we'll kind of set him here just so we can kind of look at it. At the beginning of each turn, the Witchmaster will draw one of these demon cards, right? And they flip it over and they read what it says, all right? And there's some things to tell you kind of how this works, but it says the demon cannot activate this round, right? The demon attacks all targets in his area. So if this card gets flipped, right, no one can activate the demon. One of the cool things is, let me find one of these. So here's the Witchmaster may activate the demon, but some of them allow the hero to activate the demon. So what happens is once the round's over and the next round starts, the Witchmaster, if the demon's on the board, pulls one demon card and they play that card immediately. And the demon cards can work towards the Witchmaster or against the Witchmaster. And how they set up the story is the demons, the witches were actually the underlings, and they lived on a world where the demons were in charge and they would torture the witches. But the witches sometimes bring the demons into our world, which is, this is supposed to be our medieval world, to help attack. And they know that sometimes the demons could go after them. Woo-wee! I'm getting tired, it's getting late. Dropped all the cards. So, at the beginning of a turn, the Witchmaster would draw a demon card and then they would do whatever the demon card tells them to do. Now, like I said, we're almost done. How a round ends is the heroes have no more stamina that they can use, right? All their stamina is used up, and it's really everybody's stamina is used up. Man, I got just things everywhere. Everyone's stamina is used up, right? Once everyone's stamina is used up, and the witch is over here, and where her stamina goes is in this little cauldron to kind of mark that I'm just going to put some of it in there. I don't even know if you guys can see. Yeah, you guys can see it a little bit. So if everyone has no stamina left, or they don't want to spend the stamina they have for whatever reason, right, the round's over. So what happens when the round's over is everyone gets their stamina back at the beginning. Well, the round's over and it goes to the next round. Everyone gets their stamina back unless it's locked, right? So from that plague card, these guys have stamina locked until they beat the plague, and there's different ways to beat the plague, which we won't go into. So everybody gets their stamina back. So once everybody gets their stamina back, like I told you guys, if a demon's on the board, Witchmaster pulls a demon card, pa-chow, and then they go pa-chow. I don't know why I even did that. That annoys me, that saying noise, whatever. And then use the demon. The heroes and the witch can use the demon the same way. And that's where the demon and everything works the same. You spend your stamina and you get your dice. You have your base movement, your base attack, and your base defense. Right? And of course they get better when it gets higher. So that's how the game works. Heroes take a turn, Witchmaster takes a turn. Witchmaster controls witches, minions, monsters, and demons. They control all of them. Slightly different as we went over, but it's a back and forth. Heroes go, Witchmaster goes. Heroes go, Witchmasters go, until everyone's out of stamina. If the Witchmaster runs out of stamina early, or the hero runs out of stamina early, they can just be attacked mercilessly if they can't defend, right? They can't spend to defend. So you go through that until objectives are hit. And each chapter has a different objective. A lot of times it's kill the witch, the heroes will win. I played one where if the witch got the demon out, you have to kill the demon. Even if you killed the witch, it doesn't matter. You have to kill the demon to win. And there's different things like that. The witch wins, Witchmaster wins if the demon comes out. That last one scenario I played, and it knocks over 2 heroes. It knocks out 2 heroes in a single turn, which happened really quick. Hyborium's a mean little SOB. So that's basically how the game plays. And I know I say basically, and it gets a little more in depth. Things like evade. Oh, I could do evade. Evade's really simple. But evade, so remember we were talking about Corday moving around. Say it's her turn again and she wants to move 2 more. She can move freely out of a space, right? Freely out of a space as long as her movement right? Her movement's a 1. Oh, her movement should be a 2. I don't know why it's there at 1. Her movement's a 2. As long as her movement is higher than the movement of the monsters in her area. In this area, the Mortis, his movement is 2, and she has a Ravenous, which movement's 1. So she can move out of that circle into this one easily. She cannot evade this circle because her movement is lower than Ikrik. So Ikrik's movement is, I know you guys can't see it, but I can. Her movement, I'm looking at the wrong spot, is 3. So she wouldn't be able to move out of there unless she had 3. And the condemned movement's 3. So she couldn't evade, that's what it's called. And you take no damage when you evade. You just have to have equal or higher movement than whatever you're trying to evade, whatever's in that kind of circle. And it's the same for the monsters and the demons and the minions and everything else. As long as their movement's higher than the movement for whoever's in that circle they're trying to evade, they can evade. They can move through that area. Now, one last thing, attacking melee, you have to be in the same area. So they have to be in the same area. And for ranged, they make it really simple in this game. Range is 1 space away. You can't shoot over here. Cordray can't shoot over here. If she was right here, she could shoot into that circle. And she could pick who she wants to hit and all that stuff. She doesn't have to worry about like Zombicide hitting allies if they're in there. But range is 1 distance, but it's the same as movement. You have to share a flat border with the other square. You can't have like an angled border. And you could shoot in rooms if you're right here. If she was back here, she can't shoot in this room. If she was over here, she can't shoot in this room because the walls block it. So that's basically the range attack. It's really simple. It looks like there's a lot going on, but once you sit down and read over the rules, it's really easy. Take it from me because I'm having no problem doing it. It's really easy to follow through and do. So that's the basic game. Heroes go, witches go, witch master goes. Hero goes, witch master goes, which has control of witches, minions, monsters, and demons until everyone's out of stamina, and then the next round starts. And then you just go through it again. And there's different win conditions depending on the chapter. So that's the basic overview of how to play Dark Rituals. And this time I will not try to say the Latin or Latin vert-esque name because I don't have anything close to me to try to read. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm Steven with Cardboard Coalition. I'll see you later, everybody. Bye.